recruiting numbers are at the Army and the Navy and the Air Force, they can't reach their quotas each month. They can't find enough people to join our military forces. And there are those who are undocumented who want the chance to serve and risk their lives for this country. Should we give them the chance? I think we should.
Yes. I'm sure that platoon full of illegals, they're going to refuse to fire on you and your family because of the oath they just took to the Constitution that they wiped their butt with as soon as they crossed the border. Joining me now, my friend Ryan Girdusky of the great 1776 Project PAC, the one that's winning school board races. Ryan, you heard that loser Dick Durbin, and you took a shot at him about the French Foreign Legion. I loved it. I cracked up. But sadly, it probably went over everybody's head. What are you talking about, the French Foreign Legion? I thought they were super successful, Ryan.
Yeah, the French Foreign Legion was the French, because when they had an empire, used to hire Africans to patrol Africa, and it didn't always turn out great because oftentimes the Africans would then just turn on their French generals in the line of combat, and instead of shooting on their other brothers in Algeria and in other parts of Africa. It didn't ever work out too well, and neither did the Roman Empire when their entire military was controlled by foreigners towards the end of the empire. And time again, the countries that have sat there and exported their military defense to those who are not citizens failed miserably. Maybe the question should be, do we need, in the United States in 2023, do we need a 1 million-person standing army? Do we need to be patrolling the entire globe? Do we need entangling alliances? Do we need troops in parts of this world that no one knows why they're there or why they're there for decades on end? Do we need troops in both Italy and Germany, as if World War II is going to start over again? These are questions worth asking. And does anyone else in the world ever have to pay for the contributions of the United States military, which is costing us upwards of $1 trillion a year in military spending? Maybe those are the questions we should be answering rather than saying there's just no more young, mostly white guys from the Midwest to put in the meat grinder anymore. This is a problem.
It is a problem, Ryan. And actually, let's talk about this problem. How did this happen? Because most people educated in America's government school system do not understand that this country was founded on staying out of other people's business. George Washington's famous farewell address talked about it. Up until World War I, every American, like 98% of the country, just assumed we don't get involved in other people's business. Now, we're everywhere. That's 100 years ago, Ryan. What changed in 100 years?
Well, in the aftermath of World War II, we had the Cold War, obviously. And then after the Cold War, there was a restructuring over the obligations of the American nation. It was George H.W. Bush's new global order that we would promote liberalism all over the world. George W. Bush's son said that we would make the world free for democracy. That was what the war we were fighting for, which is an impossible war, an impossible fight, and something you cannot possibly ever win. And this ongoing military expenditures to sit there and reorganize the entire globe has been an utter failure for 30 years. If anything, we've seen fewer democracies functioning across the entire world. We've had a rise of authoritarian leaders, even in places like Turkey, where we had somewhat of a democracy beforehand, and basically uniparty states like in India and somewhat in Pakistan. This is the way the world has been moving, and we kind of don't have an ability to sit there and change it. And I think that a lot of people sit there and wonder, what were the last 30 years in Afghanistan and Iraq for? Why should I risk my life and limb and mental health status for a country that, one, doesn't respect veterans all that much, and two, for a country that for a lot of people feels like they are under assault domestically?
Yeah, it feels like they're under assault domestically because they friggin' are. Speaking of which, here's Alejandro Mayorkas announcing his intention to give about 30 million people the right to vote in this country.
The answer is quite clear and quite straightforward, and we've been waiting for it for about 30 years. And that is to fix a system that everyone agrees is fundamentally broken, and we need congressional action, both for the lawful pathways that really need to be more robust in statute, and for the 12 million people who are here in the United States who have been contributing so fundamentally to our country's well-being.
I really hate how he talks, but that's another matter entirely. Ryan, I was thinking about this after that nutball was stabbing a bunch of people in Ireland, and then they cracked down on the people who got mad about it. I was thinking how wild it is that not just America, all the Western governments just decided to flood their countries with third world hordes and then crack down on their own people for caring about it. And this was universal practically across the West. It's amazing how this thing happened.
And it's amazing to see the countries that it didn't happen in. The Western countries that opposed it, like Denmark. Denmark, Bernie Sanders' favorite country, has super secure borders. They crack down on welfare. They break up minority ghettos all the time in Denmark. And they have no qualms about it because the idea of their nationalism, their idea of their identity is not something up for debate really in that country. But look, here's the thing about immigration that no one seems to understand. They keep asking for this congressional action. 95% of all of our problems with immigration reside exclusively on the executive branch. The executive branch does almost every law that you possibly would need to fix the immigration problem at the snap of a finger. The executive branch can declare Mexico a third safe country, which would end all migration from other countries who shop for a country to declare asylum in. The executive branch can solely withhold anyone that they want, any person they're choosing, any person they deem not to the benefit of the United States from entering this country. If that meant all redheads, if that meant all Asians, if that meant all Europeans, if that meant
Italians,
anybody without a college degree, anybody, they can deem it. It's the executive branch that is failing. There are some things Congress can do, but most of the things that we need to get done in immigration are solely in the hands of the presidency. It has always been that way. The president really doesn't need Congress for much when it comes to immigration. It is Joe Biden's failing on this policy solely.
Okay, so if you get a president like the one we have now that wants to flood the country with illegals to water down and destroy this place, you're pretty much screwed? Do I have that right?
Yes, you are 100%. The president could instantly declare remain in Mexico. The president can use the military to build the border wall. The president can sit there and attack, people who are bringing asylum seekers, not NGOs, but human smugglers. Could instantly declare them to be domestic terrorists or international terrorists. There's tons of things the president could do without the use of Congress, and they choose to do nothing because this is by design.
Okay, you know what? There's enough ugly out there. Let's talk about something wonderful, Ryan. Everyone's looking, the people who are looking at 2024 with clear eyes understand what's coming and how ugly it's going to be, but they don't focus on school boards. They focus on one big race and, it's going to be lost, but we're going to win a bunch of school board races in 2024 if we focus, aren't we, Ryan?
Yes, March starts off the kickoff in Missouri. School boards start in Missouri in March. By May, they reach Texas, where your home state, and in August, they're in Florida. There are 20,000 school boards up for elections next year. Not most, but half of them are not during the presidential election. So half of them are throughout the entire year. The other half are during the presidential election. And many of them are nonpartisans. There's very easily ways a conservative can sit there and get elected in a more liberal-leaning area or a swing area if they campaign on the right things, if they speak to the right people, and if they campaign and work hard. I think that's totally possible. I think that we could really reform public education in a real way.
Yeah, I just wish there was an organization out there who could help people do these things. Is there an organization like that, Ryan?
Why, yes, there is. I founded the 1776 Project PAC. We are doing a major relaunch in the new year. We're doing a major expansion in the new year to work on reforming state laws, which I'll announce on your show when it comes up. And we are really pushing and going. We won over 100 school board elections this year, which doesn't seem like much, but it's probably about 250,000 kids who live now in conservative school board districts. And we are just getting started. There's a lot more effort to do. And, the PAC support from average people in this PAC, everyday people, means the world, and it's what keeps us going, and it's what funds. I think we spent over $1 million this year now on school board elections, and like I said, we're just getting started.